Artesian.
Yep. It makes my fingers feel tingly just looking at it for some reason. I'm not sure why. That is the CNC one now.
That's where Chris goes to yell and throw things.
Okay, we are live, so don't say anything inappropriate unless it's really fun. On you, Bill. All right. Welcome everybody. It's Friday again. It's the last day of May, thankfully, and we're ready to put a hard stop on this month here in Des Moines. We've had plenty of rain, lots of roads are flooded, so if you're in one of those squishy places of the country, we can feel for you right now. We've taken a little bit of a hiatus for the Friday live broadcast because we've had a bunch of other stuff going on and some people out of town and out of the office. But we're back today, bringing you an update on what's going on here. Before we get started, I wanted to do a little bit of a promo for our next Woodsmith Live online seminar. That's coming up on June the 21st, I believe, that Thursday. It'll be 11 o'clock Central Time. The topic of it is better plywood projects, and that whole idea of it started from some of the comments that we get for the magazine. When we build projects that feature a lot of plywood, we get people writing in wondering how those projects look as good as they do. The answer really is Photoshop. But in addition to that, we also have learned some secrets over the years of how to get the most out of a sheet of plywood and make those plywood projects look not like plywood, if you know what I'm talking about. So we'll talk about some of those things that we've learned and some things that I incorporate into my own projects on that. So you can sign up for that at woodsmithshop.com/seminars. While you're there, you can kind of browse through the topics that we've already covered in past seminars. And we have an all-access pass that gives you the opportunity to hear all of those past seminars and be pre-registered for all the upcoming seminars through the rest of the year. It's something that's pretty cool. It saves quite a bit of money. Now, in addition to the seminars, which last about an hour or so long, there's a free download that goes with it, whether it's some extra material, some bonus plans, things like that. So there's plenty of value there, so you might want to consider that. Today, I have a special treat for you if you've been paying attention to the Facebooks for Woodsmith, is that we have a special guest in here and somebody that we've heard from a lot of the TV show viewers as, what happened to Brian? Where did he go? Well, to let you know and to avoid the whole cliffhanger thing, he did not die in some kind of horrible shop accident. He's right here with us, Brian Nelson, everybody. Hi, everybody. So, Brian, you left the magazine and the TV show coming up on 2 years now, right?
Yes, 2 years. Decided it was time to retire and kind of follow my wife around where she was doing some work around the country. And so I just decided to take off and see more of the country while she does some work.
So what kind of places have you been to?
We have been from North Dakota all the way down on a diagonal to Florida and a lot of states on either side of that, as well as trying to head a little further west, Texas.
Okay. So you've been doing some writing freelance for the magazine and now some copy editing. What's the big difference between being on this side of the wall versus that side of the wall?
Oh, I don't know. It's not too big a difference, but it's a little more relaxed, I guess I would say.
Yeah.
Like there's as much pressure as there used to be with all of the magazine kind of being something that I had to kind of watch over and things like that. So.
Okay. What about the transition to retirement? Because you were here for what, 21?
21 years.
Okay.
So, yeah, the transition to retirement. I guess I took it pretty easy. It wasn't that bad. But I did try to maintain some woodworking while I was on the road, but found that to be a little challenge, even with just going the hand tool route.
Okay.
Getting that 150-pound toolbox in and out of the truck was a little much, and trying to work on a picnic table bench was a challenge. So kind of scaled that back a little bit, and I've actually moved into leatherworking.
Oh, really? Well, we did a couple of leatherworking projects in shop notes when you were here, so.
Yep, learned a little bit from that, and of course a lot more now since I've had the chance to try some projects on my own.
Sure, focus on it. What have you made?
Well, as a matter of fact, I have one right here.
Oh, it just so
I
happened.
just happened to make my own wallet. Of course, course, the cash didn't come with it.
No.
Yeah, I've worked on that. Map case is in the works. Just some other odds and ends that I've been trying out. Saddle stitching and cutting leather size.
Sure.
It's a little more forgiving at times than woodworking. Leather stretches a little bit, so you can make up things here and there.
Yeah.
But it's been fun.
Cool.
A lot of things kind of carry over.
Yeah. So now, since we have had people ask about you being on the show, do you have any favorite episodes or projects or any memories that you carry with you from the show?
Favorite episodes? Well, I guess I'd have to say I always gravitated towards the shop projects. When I was first here, I started out on shop notes, so I guess the shop projects were always one of my favorite when we did those kind of episodes. As far as memorable things, it was just how long it took to produce that single minute of video. And I guess the most interesting thing was never having used makeup before and having to have that applied all the time.
Yeah.
It was quite interesting.
I bet. So, how about as from the print side of it, do you have any projects that you remember?
From the print side of things, there have been so many projects. I guess the ones I remember most are the ones that I've used in my own shop.
Yeah.
A lot of work tables, benches and jigs, pictures, those kind of things. I don't know that there's anything that stands out in particular.
Yeah.
They just kind of have all, I've used a lot of them all at one point or another.
Do you remember what your first project was that you wrote?
The first project that I wrote, yes, it was Shop Notes issue 28, and it was a splayed leg, basically bench stool.
Oh.
And because I came from an engineering background, and it had splayed legs, and the angles and everything were kind of throwing people off. Tim Robertson at the time signed that article.
Well, I do know from the editing side that you took angles very seriously.
Oh, yes. Angles were always a challenge because of how little effects that they can have on the overall layout and things like that, as well as trying to get it right and not define too many things so things don't match up when you try to do everything.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks for coming in, Brian. I know that you have some other stuff to do. So,
yeah, got to get going and look at more of the issue. And you guys have a good luck. You guys out there have a good time with the show and everything.
Thanks, David. Yep. All right, we're going to swirl our way around the shop to provide any updates. I've been kind of busy, so I haven't been able to do too much here in the shop. I have a couple of project parts in play for a coat rack that I'm working on, just to keep you updated, Pam. We're going to start over here with what Chris Fitch has got working on. So you can probably hear a little bit of the buzz from the CNC in the background, but we need to get moving on some other magazine stuff, and Chris is working on our next issue, issue 245. 244 is about to be sent off to the printer in the next few days. Chris?
Well, we've got kind of a fun project here for our magazine, and it's been a while since we've done a model. I think it was about 28 plus years ago we did a fire truck, a 1920s pumper. Well, this time we're going to do a model of something really fun, and that's a train. A 1938 J3 Hudson's Henry Dreyfuss Streamline 20th Century Limited, New York Central. So it's got some fun lines to it, very pretty steam locomotive. And I went ahead and picked up this drawing of it. You can see a little more detail. So I just sort of begun to dig into it, and one of my first tasks was to figure out a good way to make the drivers and all the wheels, because what I would like to be able to do is have a contrast between mahogany and maple to sort of strike that difference between the forged steel rim and the ductile iron center of all the drivers and the wheels. And so I actually started by using a Forstner bit to cut 1.5 inch counterbore, then used a flywheel cutter, one of these I think, and cut out a little disc of mahogany, glued that in, and then using the hole as a reference point, I used a reground tip on another flywheel cutter, and I substituted just a steel pin for the drill, and was able to bore down around my wheel and sort of create the tire and flange, and then another flywheel cutter to finally cut out the outside diameter. And then if you'll think of the technique that we sometimes use where we go over to a table saw and cut wooden plugs off, well, that's exactly what I did here. So as I worked my way along the table saw, steam locomotive drivers dropped out of my blank. So it's been kind of a fun challenge to come up with how to do this. So just getting started, but I think it's going to be a really fun project. I'm excited about it. It's something really different than furniture work, and it's sort of a quiet, contemplative project as opposed to screaming CNC machines, which is the background music of my life anymore. So I'm looking forward to it, and hopefully we'll have some good things to report next Friday.
I suppose one of the big things is striking that balance between being real precise and accurate versus just the inspiration of the shape of the locomotive, right?
Yeah. You know, I'm not trying to do a 1/48 scale model here with every little detail. You know, that would be fun, but it would also take a long time. What I'm trying to do is just get the flavor of the steam locomotive, get the feeling of it, the inspiration, the emotion of the whole thing. So we're going to be stripping out certain details, but keeping others and accentuating different things. I think it'll be a sharp piece for now.
Yeah, I think so too. All right, let's head over to Dylan.
Turn around the other way.
This way.
Hello everybody, welcome back again to another beautiful day in the shop. So I actually have a couple projects that I'm working on currently. I have one for the magazine I'm actually working on. This is one of my drawings or models I did for the actual project. So what it is just a bathroom cabinet for some of those items. If you do have a smaller bathroom with not a lot of storage, whether you're an apartment dweller or again you just have a smaller bathroom in your home, this is actually built to be installed. Well, not installed. It's actually a freestanding cabinet to go somewhere in your space to again organize some of those things that may not make it into the bathroom. Maybe will ultimately save you a trip from having to go out into a hallway or in some other room where they're stored. So. The challenge that I'm working on right now are you can tell that these legs kind of curve out, so they're convex and then concave, and the outside actually runs parallel with these legs. So right now, as it stands, I started out with basically what would be a 3-inch blank, 3x3-inch blank, but what I wanted to do is actually create my glue joint on the diagonals there. So in order to do that, you actually have to oversize your 3-inch by 3-inch blank. So it might actually require using something larger than 8/4 stock, which isn't terribly common to get. If you have access to 12/4, obviously that's ideal, but that's not everybody's reality. So what I've actually done on this smaller scale one, again, this leg is too small. What you want to end up with, again, is a 3x3-inch blank, and then the leg itself will end up actually being 1.5 by 1.5 as it follows that curve down the leg. But you can tell that by creating that glue joint on the diagonal there, I actually have straight grain running on all 4 sides of this leg here. And when I go to cut it, the way that these are actually set up on the cabinet itself is that you will actually see the edge of where those boards are joined, and hopefully the point is that your glue joint is strong enough and aesthetically pleasing enough that you won't see that or it will be hidden. If you're actually painting this, it probably wouldn't be much of an issue. On this particular one, I did not glue it up that way. I just wanted to see if this curve was actually possible. So to do this, having your larger blank, I created these templates which will actually be available for you. Is to glue one on one side, you go ahead and bandsaw your curve. So a lot of this is bandsaw and spindle sander work, but it is possible. But again, like I was saying, for this particular one, if you're painting, you probably don't have to be as conscious of the glue joint. On this one, you can actually tell the glue joint is on the inside face here. These are just 2 boards that are face joined together to the size I needed it in order to get the final size of this actual leg. So there will be probably a little bit more engineering involved with this. I don't know if I'll be able to get away with just doing 1 glue up. There might actually end up being 3 pieces, just depending on what's available for you, the reader. So again, working out some issues in the shop with that. As I continue, I'll keep you guys posted on progress with the leg and just kind of overall layout, and then maybe talk a little bit more about the material involved in this. Another project I wanted to talk about briefly was, in addition to the projects we've been working on for Woodsmith and fine woodworking tools that are available for sale, we're actually starting to collaborate with the other magazines. We've got Cuisine and Garden Gate here as well. I've been tackling some of the products we're going to be doing for Cuisine. So one of the set that we're going to do, there's actually kind of a grouping of them. One of them is actually going to be this size-wise and shape is going to be this cutting board. There might be some V carving involved, where the cuisine logo may be carved on there. Otherwise, we're talking about doing some branding with an electric iron itself. They'll probably realistically be two-tone like this. I think our groupings are going to be either made out of maple or beech. This happens to be a combination of both, just for the contrast of it. Again, it just gives a little bit more of a personality. So I've created this template, which is my go-to. I'll glue up all my boards like you typically would with any sort of panel glue up. This would be applied. As of right now, I'm just applying it with double stick tape and then using a pattern bit to get my final shape. Now, if we're going to be doing these in a larger run, realistically, we'll probably do our glue ups into blanks that are rectangular and probably cut them out on the CNC machine, and then do any sort of profiling with just our router there. So that is one of the items I'm working on. There's a couple more that are in early stages of prototyping that we can address next week and dive into it a little bit more. But that's where I'm at this week. Check back in, and we're looking forward to having you. So thanks for stopping by.
Logan, to you, love.
Oh, there he is.
And it's me. Hey everybody, it has actually been, it's been 2 weeks since I've been in the shop, believe it or not. I think that's probably the longest I have went without having something going on in here. So, and I don't have anything going on in here. I spent a couple days up in northern Minnesota, Boundary Waters, and got back and rushing to get this issue out. So I don't really have anything going on, except we had a meeting today on our Woodsmith fall workshop that we are hosting this fall. It should be September 30th and October 1st. I'm pretty excited about it. We have, we mentioned it before, but we have a couple people coming in to do seminars along with Phil, Chris, and myself. We have Matt Cremona, big bandsaw mill guy from up in Minneapolis. We have Ann Briggs, Ann of All Trades, coming out. We have Stumpy Nubs, James Hamilton. And we also have George from Woodworkers Guild of America coming out to do some seminars. So it's going to be a 2-day event. We have, let me try to recall our schedule off the top of our head. I think first morning there is a breakfast. Is that right, Phil? I think
Continental breakfast.
Continental breakfast. We have a couple keynote presentations. We'll break out for some seminars. There is a lunch provided by the Machine Shed, which is about the best home cooked food you can get in Des Moines. And then day 2, actually the evening of day 1, which would be Monday, September 30th, we are going to have, I believe, a cocktail hour, which will be fun. It'll be fun to interact with everybody that comes, and it's the attendees' chance to talk with us one-on-one, kind of a personal setting where we're all just kind of hanging out, which will be fun. We always love talking to woodworkers. Then rolling over to day 2, I believe there is going to be a coffee and pastries in the morning, and then kind of the same schedule. We're going to have breakout sessions for seminars, and then we are also going to have another keynote speaker. So one of the days, I think Ann Briggs will be a keynote speaker, and then the second day, or vice versa, Matt Cremona will be. So it's a pretty exciting event for us to be hosting. We're really excited to do it. Tickets are on sale now, and it is limited. We have, I believe, 250 spots that we are limiting it to, just to keep the small one-on-one setting. So if you are interested in tickets, you can grab them at the Eventbrite page, and we will include a link on the description in YouTube. If you're watching this on Facebook, we will put a link in the comments for the sign up on that. And we'll also be sending out a couple emails on that. So the only other thing I had is I'm going to pull a John Doyle here, and I'm going to correct Phil Huber on camera. Sorry, Phil. June 20th would be the 3rd Thursday in June. So Phil's Better Plywood Projects will be June 20th, not the 21st. Although it might be so great, and it might sell out, so we might do it 2 days in a row, right? Sure. Phil says sure. So that's all I have. Thank you for stopping into the shop. We will see you guys here next week, 1:30 next Friday. See you then.